Hey everybody out there, my name is Sean Joy, aka Dragonix, and welcome back to The Hunt. If you don't know what The Hunt is, basically it's the games that I played during the week that have significance, whether it be they were first released this week, whether they were on sale this week, or have some kind of newsworthiness to it. Short segments, get right to the point, and let's go and hunt. In Verbis Virtus. A unique experience to say the least, in Verbis Virtus isn't exactly for everyone despite the unique premise. In the game, you are a wizard, and you're able to cast spells with your microphone. This adds a whole new level of immersion of the game, as you shout to form pillars of light and move pillars with your mind. The game is a great proof of concept, but one must realize that this game is actually a puzzle FPS game, and a middle-of-the-road one at that. The puzzles aren't necessarily overly complicated, but the game relies on your attention to detail, and will have you backtracking a bit over the beautiful maps and scenery that the game has to offer. It's the kind of game that will lose its appeal if you look up how to do a section, and so if a Myst type experience doesn't sound like your cup of tea, then in Verbis Virtus isn't exactly for you. But if you love exploration, and love relying on your eyes and your head for things, then this game may be exactly what you're looking for. And you get to be a wizard. How can you beat that? Titan Souls. Despite some recent faltering on a PR level, oh hey, would you look at that, a link to another video, who would have guessed? Titan Souls definitely landed in my games to complete, and that should already tell you that I would recommend it. The idea is that you are a hero with one singular arrow, and you have to use it to defeat a series of titans in some very unique boss battles. Comparisons as a 2D Shadow of Colossus are apt, and some great sound design and some lovely detail in the artwork set the backdrop for a series of boss battles. You will die to these titans in one hit, but on the flip side, most of them do too. It's performing a delicate dance of dodging your enemy's attacks while putting yourself into position to throw that arrow into their weak spot. And surprisingly, despite some simple mechanics at its core, no boss feels the same in my experience so far, and you will be challenged. Now, this is a game that will frustrate you, as you attempt to figure out how to beat a boss in certain areas, and it may have limited replay value to a certain extent, but I can safely say that I enjoyed my entire time with Titan Souls so far. It's worth a look. Mortal Kombat X. Yeah, it's good. You probably figured this out by now, but it's the detail and the amount of effort that went into the game that it deserves the praise thrown at it so far. The inclusion of variations to a very diverse roster changes up gameplay completely on a character-by-character level, as each character's variation honestly feels like a whole new character in itself. The story mode is still on the level of some of the prior years, as Mortal Kombat fans will love the fan service put in with cameo by characters from the game's past. The PC port, despite its rocky launch, is reasonable, although I have noticed frame rate issues once in a blue moon, especially on the rainy stages. I am a little disappointed that there's no traditional challenge section in this one, which is something I love from Mortal Kombat 9. But overall, the content here is strong for fighting game fans, and the port has a reasonable execution. There's cool random towers that pop up, and the faction war idea does seem interesting on the surface. And of course, the Fatalities are some of the most creative yet as well. Definitely a star in the fighting game genre. Now, Goro being day one pre-order DLC on the other hand, whoever decided that needs to be sent to the corner, badly. Or a fatality, one of the two. Westerado double-barreled. Dying for a Western game since you played Red Dead Redemption? Then Westerado double-barreled may be exactly what you're looking for. A 2D open-world game you play as the hero, whose ranch was burned down at the hands of a mysterious assailant, and your mother and brother were killed. You spend your time attempting to figure out who killed them by completing quests in the open world that give you clues to the identity of the arsonist in question. The story drives this one, as the writing does a solid job of keeping you immersed in the world, and there's a variety of different quests and jobs for you to perform. The combat here, though, is very basic, and while it rewards precision with shooting off hats for health drops, for example, it isn't challenging in the slightest, and is probably the weakest part of the game. It's more the open world and flexibility that the game throws at you that's the draw here, and there is some replayability with the fact that the villain isn't the same every time. It's a solid, but not spectacular game that will fill a need for those looking for a Wild West adventure at this point. There's also a review done over at TechRaptor, the main site, and by Alex Santamaria. Take a look at it. The Carnell House Trilogy. Honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this one. You may recognize some of the voices in this point-and-click adventure game that's split into several chapters, but what you may have trouble with is the inconsistent storytelling and sometimes bland characters that occur within the game. On one hand, some of the overall themes that the game hits are pretty thought-provoking, and in terms of the conclusion of the story, it wraps things up well in terms of some of its major themes. But on the other hand, the implementation of story-based tools is where it starts to go wrong, as characters will have dramatic personality changes for seemingly no reason, and while some may attribute it to the horror setting the game is based in, I felt like sections were cut out from the story. Honestly, that's the theme I'm going with on this game, missing. It seems like story elements are missing, and that I'm missing some of the references that the game is attempting to use. In the end, those who are really looking for a horror-based story experience that will make you really think about what you're looking at, you may want to take a look at this, but be aware that the road will be majorly bumpy along the way. You can also take a look at Georgina's review of the game over at the main TechRaptor site. Shilling, 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 shilling. ManaCollect. Take the elements of Minesweeper and put them in a competitive two-player arena and throw some anime into the mix, and you get ManaCollect. The idea here is that you highlight the tiles on the field based on the numbers around the tiles in order to expose the mana. You're able to chain tiles with multiple tiles in a row, but the catch is, get it wrong, and you'll lose all the tiles you have highlighted at that point. There's surprisingly some strategy to play against a local friend, as skills in attack and defense mechanics highlight a risk and reward gameplay, as being aggressive and attempting to get all the tiles on the field can turn on you very quickly if you screw up, so you've got to stay on top of your game. While the story is meh, and there's some imbalance with some of the characters' skills, the game is a good variation of the battle puzzler, and it's something I really enjoyed in the end. Also, there's a Catgirl in it. That makes it automatically good, right? Because Catgirls. And that's it for this week. There's a good collection of games this week, and despite me indicating that there was a lack of games that came out this week last week, it shows that you can always find a good collection when it comes down to it, and there's always some good surprises along the way. Yeah, of course Mortal Kombat X and Titan Souls were big releases, and expected to be good, but even titles like ManaCollect and Westerado have something to offer as well. I'm actually glad that most of the games had controller support this week, because some idiot when cleaning up his broken desk got a nasty gash on his right index finger. Oh well, hopefully that doesn't come into play this I have a TF2 consolation match final on Tuesday. Oh yeah, this is a shout out from my team, Go Fifth. Shameless self-promotion! Anyway, on to next week. The big release this week in my mind is actually an early access title. Okay, let's let the dramatic music play. Okay though, it's Killing Floor 2. I mean, Killing Floor 1 was a solid co-op FPS, and they've taken that concept, ramped it to the next level, polished it, and made it a game that with its initial gameplay footage looks amazing. It only has 4 of the 10 perks available, and it's attempting to be done within the year. Again, I really am concerned with the amount of games and bigger titles now going to early access at this point, but I'm willing to put it aside for this game in particular due to what footage I've seen and the polish I've seen so far. The game comes to early access on Steam on April 21st. One of my favorite games of 2014, Shovel Knight makes its way to the PS4, PS3, and Vita on April 21st. If you haven't picked it up yet, why have you not picked it up yet? Now, they've added Kratos to the mix, and you're supposed to learn something from him when you beat him as well. If you only have Sony consoles, get this game. Get this game. No, seriously, get this game. I'm not going to even describe exactly what the game is about. You can read that anywhere else. It's a great game. It's a great platformer. It's a wonderful experience, and the music is superb. You will not regret it. After being so long without Dungeon Keeper games, we get 2 in the same year. Dungeons 2 comes to the PC on April 24th. 2 playable factions, 26 unique creatures, and a bunch of heroes. If you haven't played the classic Dungeon Keeper games, you are a dungeon overlord and are attempting to build an evil army to fight the forces of good. It was a great twist, and the original game was a fantastic game by Bullfrog. And with War for the Overworld, and now Dungeons 2, I can only hope that this genre gets a little bit more recognized as what it is. Fantastic. Now let's see if Dungeons 2 can live up to that hype. I haven't played War for the Overworld yet because I've heard of the early access issues, and even though the game is released, it still has issues to begin with. Let's see if Dungeons 2 can mix this up and hopefully be better than that. And here are the games and the dates that are coming out for the remainder of this week. Now, there will be one set of games or DLC that I am missing this week. And I want to make sure that you guys know that there's a special video coming out next Thursday. Not this upcoming Thursday, but the next Thursday. I'm actually really proud of this one. The ideas at least behind it, and hopefully I'm able to execute it at this point. This is hype, I know. I'm hyping up a video that's coming out within a week and a half. But I'm actually sort of proud of this one and the way that I've gone about it. And it hits an issue that I really want to bring attention to in terms of the gaming world. At least on my side, that's for sure. So keep an eye out for that video and get hyped for it because I think it's actually somewhat different and somewhat interesting and something you haven't seen before. Yeah, I know I'm probably setting you up for disappointment. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is Dragnix signing out, and I'll see you next week. Hey everybody, my name is Sean Joy, aka Dragnix, and I thank you for watching. If you do like this video, hit that like button, and if you do want more content like this from TechRaptor, hit that subscribe button. I will be doing content for TechRaptor on Mondays and Thursdays video-wise, and then doing the rest of the week on the video on my own channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Also, play more games. Needs more games.